Hello everyone, welcome back to another NinjaGo season review. Today we're going to be taking a look at NinjaGo Dragons Rising Part 1, because, it's only like 10 episodes or whatever, and then the other 10 is going to come out in a couple weeks. So yeah, a little delayed getting to this, because, these episodes came out a while ago. I want to say like May, I may be wrong about that. It's been a while is the point. So yeah, just now getting around to watching. Granted, getting around to reviewing this. I watched most of the episodes a while ago, and then finishing up the season got away from me. And then the other day I went through like the last 3 finally. So yeah. This is another one of those soft kind of reboots for NinjaGo. This one kind of being the hardest of the soft reboots. And it's very interesting so far. I'm liking it. And I kind of feel bad about taking so long to finally get to this. And there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, it's like I really was like my motivation to keep watching. It's like I was going to keep watching. There was nothing that was actually going to keep me from watching, and continuing on with a series that's been going on for almost 15 years now. So I was going to continue watching no matter what. However, Crystallized was so bad that it really made me go, I need a breather. I need a breather from this. So now, of course, there was this break in between the seasons, so that was a little bit of a breather there. But then it's kind of an interesting phenomenon with this, is where for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, everyone's going, why doesn't Cartoon Network promote the show? It airs in like the dead of night. They don't really advertise when it is actually on. So everyone ends up watching it on YouTube and hoping they can watch it before it gets copyright striked. And they're also watching it in like 480p because the quality's terrible. Off of like Malaysian TV capture or something like that, something like that. So now finally our prayers were kind of a little bit answered with Crystallized, where they put it on YouTube and Netflix pretty much simultaneously last time around. And so that was cool. The only problem is that, it was crystallized. But it seems like they may finally have their act together. And now Dragons Rising is a Netflix series. It actually opens up and it says a Netflix series. It doesn't give me Journey to One vibes at all when it does that. For my Bionicle fans out there. So yeah, very, very cool that finally it's on a dedicated network where it's all going to drop at once and everyone's going to be able to go and watch it. There's not going to be any more of this, jumping to YouTube and trying to catch rips before they're removed for copyright and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So, but that was kind of the problem with me this time around, is not that I didn't have Netflix, had Netflix the entire time, could have watched it at any time. But the fact that it was just there and I could watch it anytime kind of took away my motivation for watching it a little bit. Because it was weird, because I was thinking about this a week or so ago. I'm like, I should probably finish Dragons Rising. Why have I not finished Dragons Rising? And I think it's because it was just kind of there and I could watch it at any time. Whereas with Crystallized and Seabound and Master of the Mountain, and it's like et cetera, going back, basically to like 2014 when Rebooted came out, so over almost a decade ago at this point. All the way back then, it's kind of been appointment viewing to watch it on YouTube, because you don't know when the episodes are going to get removed for copyright strikes. So you got to watch it as soon as possible. Because I remember when the first part of Crystallized came out last summer, and whenever that was, and it just kind of suddenly dropped, and it was a surprise. And it's like, oh, here's 3 or 4 episodes in an hour. And then over the course of like the next 2 hours, the whole thing dropped. And so everyone rushed to watch it, or at least in the Discord server I was in, everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's happened. What is this? What's happening? So in an afternoon, everyone kind of quickly rushed to watch those episodes, and it was kind of cool. It's like just unfortunate that, but again, I've talked about that. First half of Crystallized is fine. It's just that all the payoff for the stuff it sets up is terrible. So but it was interesting to for that to happen. That's kind of been the way it had been for so long. So with all the episodes just dropping on Netflix, a reliable source where you don't have to worry about it getting taken down, I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And it just took me a while to get to it. So for those of you that do enjoy my Ninjago content whenever I review the episodes and stuff, I do apologize that it's taken me so long to finally get here. And like I said, I kind of feel bad because Dragon's Rising is good so far. It's not great, I don't think. I'm not blown away. I'm not like over the moon for it, but it is good. And because it feels new and old at the same time, because we've got these new characters, they've done this whole merge thing. We've got Sarah and Orin. we've got Sora and Aaron, excuse me. And Lloyd's kind of their new master. We're finally going back to the whole Master Lloyd plot line that was dropped in Hands of Time. And yeah, this like we're dropping characters. It's like some of them are going away for a little while, and then the creative teams talked about bringing in new characters, and maybe we'll see old ones back eventually, and etc. So it's like there's a lot new to explore, and it's I think they've done this very wisely because if let's say they didn't do the merge and then suddenly there's just another Master of Fire running around with like the wildfire girl or whatever her name is, and there's just some random new secondary Master of Fire running around, and then suddenly this Sora had this new girl. Sora has technology elemental powers or whatever, stuff like that. I think we'd all be going, okay, none of this makes sense. You're breaking the lore of the world. But because they've done this merge where the world's literally been remade, the rules are out the window. They can kind of do whatever the heck they want at this point, and I think that was smart of them because I think this is a topic that had kind of been discussed in other circles, the TTV channel for certain, in their Ninjago cast reviews. And I kind of agreed with them. I was starting to agree by the end of Crystallines. I was definitely agreeing with them. Is that we had kind of run out of room for things to explore in Ninjago. There were still aspects that we could have explored. It's like, what the heck is a Metalonia? We know that this is a place where like Karloff and Korgran have come from, where they hail from. But where is Metalonia on the Ninjago map? I kind of wish, and it's like they introduced Shintaro, so it's like there was still some stuff, but in terms of like elemental powers and how this works and how that works, there was a lot of rules had been set, and that was kind of by Crystallized, that was maybe becoming a teensy bit restrictive. And I mean, you can kind of see it where it's like they were just kind of retreading old ground. Because that was my biggest complaint with Crystallized, is that there's nothing new here. We've seen this all before. It's the Overlord again. It's his indestructible army until they're not indestructible army again. And on and on and on. We've seen this two separate times by this point. This makes three. This is not new. Harumi's back again. She had a fitting conclusion to her arc that was tragic, but was done well. But no, we're undoing that, and she's back again. And they kept, and the one villain we would have liked to actually see back that they could have done new stuff with, Nauticon, but they kept waving the teapot in front of our face, and they've done nothing with it as of yet. So by Crystallized, yeah, it's like maybe we're running a little threadbare on new material we could cover. At least under the writers that we had at the time. And some of those writers have now left. Some of them have stayed on. There's a couple new writers that have joined since. So doing the merge, I think, was a smart choice because now with all the different things going on, the possibilities are sort of kind of maybe endless at this point about what they can do and what rules they can rewrite. It's like what about certain characters we can bring back? What new characters we can introduce. 'Cause I like Sora and Aaron. They're a pretty good duo to start this new series off. I don't think they're like all-time best Ninjago characters, but I do like that it seems like, at least by what the creative team has said and what we're seeing so far, that they are building these characters up to kind of be the new mainstays, and they will be around for a long while, which is good because because Ninjago has no shortage of fun, memorable side characters that we would all love to see more of, and then they get their season that they're in, that they're the focus, that they're minifigures that you can collect or whatever, and then they're kind of gone. And then like they maybe come back here or there whenever they can work it into the plot, like the Elemental Masters who keep appearing and disappearing. But so for these new characters to be, it's like, all right, here's some of our new mainstays, and we're kind of building a new team in the ninja we've known for the past 10 years or whatever. They're kind of going to be the new mentor characters, but we're still going to get stuff of them. It's like, okay, I like this. I really like that. And then judging if these leaks are to be believed, that have come out in the last week or so, Master Wu's going to come back, maybe. Garmadon as well. So it's like, so all these old characters will still be around, but it's nice that they are introducing these new characters that will definitely be sticking around, and they're not going to be here for Dragons Rising, and then they're going to disappear next season. We're going to start from scratch again. So I really like that. I do wish Dareth was there though. It's like we could always use more Dareth. It's like where it's like I'm like Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith. It's like, where is Dareth? Is he safe? Where's Dareth? Come on, writers. And I think they've kind of played coy about that on Twitter. I can't remember, but so yeah, no, it's been pretty good so far. This Imperium place, it seems like this is a pretty strong set of bad guys that they're setting up here. Because I don't know, something about the Will film era, it seemed like they were kind of light on their villains. Like the villains weren't as memorable. They were like bad to decent at best, with the exception of Kalmar, who was exceptional. But like the Skull Sorcerer, he was fine. The Overlord and Harumi, I mean, those are recycled from older seasons, and they were done poorly in Crystallized, so blah. Then Prime Empire doesn't really, I guess, have a villain outside of the mechanic, because of course Unagami was really just misunderstood. Then we go to the Ice chapter. I mean, it's really Asphira and Vex, and neither of them are really. I don't mind Asphira, but she's not the strongest villain Ninjago's ever had. So yeah, it's the Will film era part 1. Not great with its villains until we get to Kalmar. And then yeah, because like the island, I mean, there wasn't really a villain in the island, except unless you count Ronan, but I don't really think we count Ronan. So yeah, but so far Imperium seems to be, it's like we've got some interesting characters. We got the Good Empress, all hail the Good Empress or whatever. Then we got Lord Ross. What's his deal? A lot of people are hoping he's from Chima. I think that'd be hilarious, because we know there's been that crossover before. It would be really funny if they actually confirm that, if he is from Chima, since he does appear to be animalistic. Like maybe this tribe, like it's like he seems like a tiger. It's like, I don't think tigers were ever in Chima. We had lions, of course. But yeah, I don't think tigers were in Chima as far as I'm aware. Now maybe that was a plan, that they were going to eventually introduce tigers or something, but then the line didn't get renewed past its initial 3 years, so it's like they never moved forward with that. Who knows? But yeah, I think some more connection to Chima would be kind of interesting. It's like not that Chima was great, but it would just be funny for like a background thing. It's like, oh hey, look, there's Laval walking around in like the merge district or whatever they call that area. Like the cross yard, the crosswalk of realms, or not the crosswalk, but it's like, what I'm talking about. That whole market area where it's like all the realms kind of mix and mingle and stuff. It's like, it would be kind of funny if there was like a Chima character walking around in the background. So yeah, I'm not really going to talk too much about the story, because it's only halfway through. So I mean, I guess this isn't really that much of a review. This is kind of like my Crystallized Part 1, where it's like, this is just my impressions from Part 1. The full review will be more reflective in the full thing after Part 2 comes out. One thing I will say is that this is still Wild Brain animating, but it feels more like the Will Film era for both good and bad. Because for one thing, the writing is stronger than it certainly was last season, so that's good. Um, but then at the same time, the animation is nowhere near as spectacular as the past few seasons. Because it's like, say what you want about the story of Crystallized, which is bad, but the animation was great, the action was great. That stuff they really nailed and they did very, very well with. But this really does seem a lot like the Will Film stuff, where it's a little slower. Um, the action is decent to good, but it's not really outstanding, because the action in the Will Film stuff, it's like, I feel like season one, it's kind of like, oh, for what this is, it works well. But then as it kept going, it's like, okay, yeah, and it's like the action is the weakest part of this. It's good, and so it's like whenever we get good stories out of these seasons, it's really exemplified. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is still a good show despite the animation being just kind of okay. But then by the time we got to Sons of Garmadon, that's when they really ramped it up. And it's like, okay, this action's really, it's good now. It's definitely good. But then Wild Brain came along and it kind of blew Will Film out of the water when it came to that stuff. It's like, even going straight into Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu in the Fire chapter. It's like the one scene I think of is the fight in the museum early on, where the fire mummies or whatever are fighting with the ninja, and Lloyd does like a slide on the floor to grab the scroll, and it's like it's all very, it's very quick movements, and it really draws your attention and everything. Very, very good fighting, lots of, and then of course, like, there's some of the one shots that they did in like Master of the Mountain and Seabound and stuff. It's like those were just awesome. It's like, oh my gosh, this animation is amazing. But a weird thing that I noticed about those seasons, though, that, from the Wild Brain Part 1 era, was, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, or if it's just me being weird, but is it just me, or did everything seem smaller than prior seasons? Like, I want, it's like, I know this is, it sounds weird to say it like this, because, it's all done digitally. None of this is real. It's, all built in a computer. But it almost seemed like the camera they were using was a different lens. They were using a different lens on their in program camera compared to what Will Film used. So it seemed like everything was shot from farther away than Will Film, which used I don't know. It just seemed like the Will Film character models were larger than the Wild Brain character models for their first couple seasons. So I don't know. I don't. It's like I am an animator, but I do everything with physical props of toys and actual Lego, since I do stop motion. But I don't really do much animation in the actual computer, so I can't really speak to that. But so I don't know how they went about that. I'm guessing they were using different programs. So it's like the camera that Wild Brain was using was different from the camera that Will Film was using. Maybe the one that Wild Brain was using was like a more expensive program, so like you could do better stuff. I don't know. So it's like you could zoom it out and have wider lenses or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly how all that works. But the first couple seasons of the Wild Brain era, it definitely seemed like everything was smaller. Now the details were greater. It's like I think they showed that off on Twitter. I think Tommy Andreessen at the time, he uploaded a picture of Zane, and it's like, well, look at all the little details on his gi. And it's like, oh yeah, no, the details are there. And it's like they're still doing close-ups, but it's like, I don't know, it was just something about the way everything was shot. Everything just seemed smaller. It's like they felt more like actual minifigs in the first half of Wild Brain's era, now animating the show. But now they've switched to animating in Unity. We know that for certain. No. Sorry, not Unity. That's a whole other debacle that's going on right now. What I mean, they're animating an Unreal Engine. That's what I mean. I'm pretty sure that they're animating an Unreal Engine now. And so I don't know if Will Film used to animate in Unreal. I don't think so. That'd be interesting if they were, but now Wild Brain is animating NinjaGo in Unreal, which is interesting. And now the minifigures seem larger again. So again, I don't know if that's an actual thing, if their models are actually larger now, or if it's just the type of camera that they're using in the program. So that's very, it's I would love to know all the technical details of that, because you immediately loading up the first episode of Dragons Rising, it's like, okay, there is a bump in quality that is consistent here with the with the Wild Brain seasons, where it's like there's a lot of good details and lighting here and stuff. But this feels more like the way that Film animated everything. And again, like I said, for better and for worse, because so far there's not been anything in this season where I've gone, oh wow, that was really cool in terms of like action. There's a couple things I'm like, oh, that's neat, like the whole fight with the magician guy in the carnival. It's like, and it's the giant wooden puppet robot thing that's stomping after him. It's like, that's kind of a neat idea. I like that, but that's more or less the idea, unless the animation really getting me to go, oh wow. So yeah, I don't know. There's not really been any combat yet. It's like an action scene that's made me go, oh wow, that was really cool. Like with it's like, oh, or that animation was really slick and fluid. Like with like say something from Master of the Mountain. So not that and again, not to say it's bad, because it's not. It's just they're. It seems like they're maybe focusing on different things this time around. It's like, and of course, Film was closed down now. They are defunct, unfortunately. That's kind of sad, because they were animating stuff for years. They were, at one point in time, they were Lego's main animator. They were animating pretty much anything and everything Lego did, because they were doing NinjaGo, they were doing Shima, they were doing Lego Star Wars specials. So it is really sad to see that they've closed down. But I almost kind of wonder if maybe Wild Brain hired a few of those old guys over there to work on Ninjago again. I don't know. I'd have to cross reference credits lists, but yeah, no, I'm enjoying Dragons Rising so far. I'm eager to see what has become of Cole and Zane, or no, excuse me, Cole and Jay. Zane came back at the very last second, like the last two episodes. Finally, thank you, show. I was like, where's Zane? And I've still got those questions about Cole. And it's like, we know Cole's definitely coming back in this batch of episodes based on the trailer. But and they've been cryptic about Jay, so I'm very curious about what's going on with Jay. It's like, I wonder if they're going to pull like he has amnesia thing, and like maybe he thinks he's Fritz Donegan reborn or something. That'd kind of be funny. But yeah, no, I've been pleased with it so far. I'm not not been blown away by it, like I said, but it's solid so far, which is a big step up from last season, which it's like, as it kept going on, was just like getting progressively worse and worse and worse and worse, and we were all sitting there going, oh no, this is not how this is gonna end, is it? Oh, it's so bad. So yeah, not having that reaction so far this time. So hopefully they'll be able to keep that quality up the rest of the way through, because so far they're doing a good job of tying it back. It's like, and even going back to older stuff we hadn't seen in a while, like the Realm of Madness and the Cloud Kingdom. That stuff was all really cool. It's like, oh hey, cool, it's the Cloud Kingdom. We haven't seen that since Possession, and then the Realm of Madness we probably haven't seen since. Also, maybe Possession, if that was one of the realms that Morrow and Lloyd were doing their little poof in and out thing, where they had their Chima cameo. But if they didn't do it then the last time we would have seen the Realm of Madness would have been season 1 back in 2012. So that's bonkers. So yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far, and I will be eagerly. And now that I've finished part 1, I will be eagerly anticipating the release of the next batch of episodes, and I will probably be more on top of those whenever they are released. So before I go, I do want to pose the question: when those next batch of episodes drop, do you want me to review them all in one go, like I have been doing, or do you guys want me to review like an episode or two at a time? Like, say if there's a 2-parter, I'd review those 2 back to back in one video, like for a finale. or would you rather, it's like just wait and do the whole thing, and it's like, watch all the episodes and then do another video like this. So answer that question for me in the comments if you've made it this far through the video. And yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much it for me for this time. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.